My next guest is a member of the House Judiciary Committee who questioned Acting Attorney General Whitaker today, Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen of Tennessee. So, Congressman, first of all, I just have to get your reaction to that testimony you heard today, both to his demeanor and, in many cases, his refusal to answer yes and no questions.
Well, he came in to stonewall us. That was his purpose. He had an audience of one, which was Donald Trump. And when he was a football player, and I could certainly see him as a football player, he was a tight end, and that's generally a blocker in the Iowa program. He was a blocker today, too. He's still in the same role he was when he played for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He didn't show me anything to say that he should be the United States Attorney General. I've met many and been with people at Justice, and this man does not measure up to them in any way whatsoever. He was just treading water and stonewalling.
And in a lot of people's eyes, making a mistake of being pretty disrespectful to the chair, declaring his time up, and repeatedly saying in answer to questions rather than answering them. I can see this is a very important issue to you. Did you feel that he was there just to stonewall and stall for time, or did you think that he was being openly disrespectful to the panel as a way of performing for Donald Trump?
Well, it's hard to say. It was kind of like, would you say Luca Brasi was being disrespectful, or Luca Brasi just kind of didn't understand things? And he was kind of Luca Brasi-esque. I don't think he's very swift. And he did, even with the Republicans, sometimes have the same stock start to his answers of saying, Congressman, I really thank you for asking that question. And then finally, David Cicilline said, let's get through the thank you stuff. Don't say thank you. And it was all a time killer, and they had coached him. And they coached him, I guess, with, I know that question's important to you, because he used that to Mr. Jordan on the Republican side and to others as well. I just think he was given certain talking points, and he stayed on message.
Well, Chairman Nadler indicated that he doesn't feel he's done hearing from Mr. Whitaker and that he might want to recall him again. Given the performance today, do you think there's any point in calling him again?
Well, he'd be under oath again. It'd be a deposition, and we could ask him the questions, and I don't think he'd be. I think he's going to start to realize the fact that he could be in jeopardy. He didn't answer the questions forthrightly. It's hard for me to believe that Donald Trump didn't ask him, as he did Jim Comey and others, about the investigation and to have loyalty and to be easy on Flynn and those type of things. He was upset with Sessions. He said he didn't have his own attorney general. He wanted his consigliere, as he would probably think about it, and he wanted his own guy. And this Whitaker comes out of nowhere. He wasn't in the line of succession, which Ted Deutsch made clear, goes through all a group of officials who've been approved by the Senate. He was not one of them. So it was an aberration there. And then somebody brought up his vitae, and most of his jobs had not been in the legal sector, and then what he'd had in the political world had been abject failure. And he'd had some encounters where he headed up some charity group where he got $1.2 million when he came to Washington to do some work. And there was a suggestion that Sheldon Adelson, a major Republican contributor and friend of Trump's, might have been the person that gave that $1.2 million to him. For this guy out of Iowa who didn't really ever do much, to show up in Washington and get paid $1.2 million, that's just talks about the influence of money in Washington and the pernicious nature of it, and how he's been a willing subject to it.
Congressman Steve Cohen, thank you very much. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.